Alright, YouTube, it's the Shadow King, King Nazru, here with a review of Rosario Vampire 2, Chapter 5. Skune wakes up to find himself in a dungeon with one of the criminals there to greet him. The criminal says that Skune is tougher than he looks, and that now that he's awakened, he might be killed soon. Skune looks around at the dead students in the cell and suspects the guy he is talking to are the phantom murderers. Phantom murderers? I don't recall that being mentioned in the last chapter, but maybe that might have been a translation error. Anyway, phantom murderers, okay? At least that sounds a lot better than graffiti demon. Anyway, Skune believes that these are the phantom murderers, but the guy says they're just professional thieves. The criminal shows the money he and his gang stole, which is covered in blood, causing Skune to wonder how they ended up finding these guys while looking for the phantom murderers. By walking into a dungeon? Then we cut to the school announcing about the criminals and how they're on school grounds and how students should remain in buildings, basically a quarantine. Yukari is running around in place, concerned how the situation has gotten worse and what could she possibly do to save her friends. Then Yukari is met by Ruby, who they're meeting for the first time after Season 1, and Yukari is elated to see her. Yukari tells Ruby that Skune and the others are in danger and asks what should she do. Ruby says that she'll help since Skune saved her and because it's their job to look out for the students. Then we cut back to the dungeon where Kurumu, Mizure, and Kokoa are exploring the dungeon looking for Skune, but don't realize they're being spied on by a Shikigami, which is that small spider-like creature thing that Kiria used back in Season 1. The criminals ponder what to do with the girls, suspecting they must be Skune's friends, with the street slasher wanting to kill them. The street slasher says he won't, the criminal won't kill the girls because apparently he suffers from gynophobia, which is a fear of girls. But the criminal says otherwise, especially since he has a special power. The criminal places his hand on Skune's face and manages to copy his appearance. That's a pretty neat power. If he could do more, then he might become a compelling villain. So instead of referring to him as the criminal, I'm going to refer to him as the face stealer. So the face stealer says he does this to get away with his crimes and kills the originals to eliminate the witnesses. A nice power and smart. I have a feeling that this is going to be a pretty interesting villain. Let's see. Kurumu and Mizure and Kokoa argue that they've been going around in circles and should change leaders to find their friends more effectively. But Skune approaches the girls and tells them that they're alright and he beat the criminals and they can all go home. You're trapped! Sorry about that. I don't know what got over me. The real Skune tries to warn them though through the Shikigami, which the girls wouldn't be able to hear since it's just a projector, more or less. But the street slasher slugs him regardless. Kurumu is happy that Skune is unharmed and starts running to embrace him, with the face stealer anticipatingly waiting to stab her. However, the face dealer is caught off guard by Kurumu's large breast rubbing against him, which he apparently has dreamed about ever since he was a kid. Our villains are perverts. I can still deal with that. We've had far worse. The street slasher is disappointed in his boss, and Skune is relieved that Kurumu's breasts have finally come in handy. See, even the most absurd things can actually have an interesting plot point, and actually be rather relevant too. The face dealer tries to get a grip on himself and tries to kill the girls. Uh, the girls start rendezvousing with Ruby and Yukari, and the face dealer thinks that this is all becoming tedious. The face dealer then decides to make a move and gives Ruby a stomach smash, but doesn't realize that Ruby is a masochist, meaning she loves being hurt for her sexual urges, and wants him to hit her more. Yukari then starts groping Skune. Pretty much, the face dealer is going through the typical tropes that Skune goes on a regular basis, and he finds what Skune goes through to be rather shameless, especially since he has multiple girls after him, and especially one that's a child, no less. Mizure then freezes Yukari and gets suspicious of Skune's behavior. Then the face dealer accidentally touches Kokoa's breast, and Kokoa hits him with the mace in defense. The face dealer thinks the girls are trying to make a fool out of him, while Kokoa starts licking his blood, and he recoils. Kokoa finds this odd since Skune always allows her to lick his blood. Yukari sees that, then spots that Skune isn't wearing his holy lock, which without, Skune would turn from human to vampire or into a ghoul, and realizes that this person is a fraud. Nice to see that Yukari is still the brain in the bunch. Skune is relieved that the girls figured him out, but the street slasher blames him and his girls for this trouble and prepares to kill him. Mocha manages to save Skune by slamming the street slasher to a wall. And from the look of the panel, it kind of looked like she dislocated her shoulder from doing that. But vampires do have accelerated healing, so that shouldn't be a problem. Mocha tells Skune to remove the rosary so she can turn to Inner Mocha and get them out of there. But the street slasher starts turning into his monster form and stabs Skune in the back. The girls start asking where the real Skune is, and the face dealer says Skune is most likely being stabbed by the street slasher. Kurumu tries to confront the face dealer, but the face dealer uses his monster energy to cut Kurumu's arm from afar, and says fighting him one at a time would lead to their failure. Mocha struggles to keep Skune alive while the street slasher transforms into a Tsuchigumo, which is the male counterpart of a Jirugimo, which is what Kaito was back in the first season. So more or less, he's a Spider-Man. No pun intended. The street slasher pins Mocha down with his multiple arms while he prepares to kill Mocha, but Skune tells him to let her go, causing him to stab Skune multiple times. Skune grabs the street slasher's arms and breaks them all. Jeez, that was I know this is Rosario Vampire, things get brutal from time to time, but jeez, I think you expect something like that from God of War. So, the street slasher gets his arms ripped off by Skune, and he's just beginning to realize how dangerous Skune is, especially with Skune starting to transform into a vampire. with Ruby recapping why Skune needs the Holy Lock to remain human, as we see Skune has beaten the Straight Slasher to a pulp. I said I was going to come up with a way to describe these chapters, and I say it's not shit gets real, but things are getting tense. Especially with how brutal Skune is becoming, and just how dangerous these enemies could be despite them being common. Well, not so much common, just they're just being thieves and murderers instead of being A-level dangerous enemies. So next time, let's see just how things escalate in Chapter 6 of Rosario Vampire 2.